Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And I am coming off a weekend and week where I've been able to just properly sit down, rest, and recover. So today is Sunday, the 2nd of February, and the previous weekend was the Great Aussie Cross Stitch Shindig. And if by chance you've not seen my last couple of Flosstube episodes, I was trying to promote that weekend as much as I practically could, and it was a fantastic weekend. Noting that Australia Day is the 26th of January, and it it was part of why those particular dates were chosen. The event was organised by Lisa from Paddock Lane Designs, and she's done an absolutely phenomenal job with organising it all, and it went as smoothly as we practically could make it. And I think it was a huge success, and I really do hope that we're able to make it an annual event. Now, I was a participant in terms of being one of the vendors there, and a vendor in the sense of hot cross stitching, with sharing with everyone some of the designs that I've made along the way, and also some of the project bags that I made in preparation for the weekend. And I also got to share with people some of my fully finishes, like Dewdrop Daisy, that we see sitting behind me. And actually, the really cool thing, looking at that piece from where I'm sitting, looking at it through the camera, I am blown away that it does actually look very much like the photo that it was based on. So I'm quite proud of myself for that one, if I must toot my own horn. The event, though, was still absolutely awesome. I got to meet many people that I have never met before, and I also got to catch up with many of the people who I had met at JK's stitching retreat that had occurred last year on the Central Coast. And I actually learnt some new cool tricks relating to cross stitch as well. So that was very cool, because I strongly believe that I don't know everything there is to know about cross stitch, because there are so many awesome and different ways in which we can achieve such beautiful results, that if there is a different technique that I might be able to learn for stitching, or a different way of finishing a cross stitch piece, or learning how to frame up something, then I think that that is a really cool way, and something that I'm hoping to be able to incorporate into my own stitching and my own finishing as well. Now, the other really cool thing is that I also saw, what did I say? I saw lots of things. But I also got to do a lot of stitching as well. Now, one of which was the B&S ball, which is a piece that I charted, one of the charts available for purchase through, that was during the Great Aussie Shindig weekend. There was a free booklet that came with your ticket if you were a participant, and then also, or an attendee rather, and then you could also purchase a second book that had some larger designs. And the two pieces that I provided for the booklet that you could purchase was the B&S ball with people, and then also a larger version of the B&S ball. So this is a bit more of the model that I am stitching for B&S Ball Mini, also known as B&S Ball with People. Now, the really cool thing is that this is being stitched on 25 count easy grid fabric using DMC thread, and it has a great combination of solid stitching and confetti stitching to give a bit of texture and such to to the piece. Now, if you are interested in purchasing this design or any similar designs from the Great Aussie Shindig, I understand that the booklets may be available still for purchase through Paddock Lane Designs. I strongly recommend that you go and reach out to their website and also reach out to Lisa, who is Paddock Lane Designs, and she'll hopefully be able to help you out from there. Now, with this particular piece, I think throughout the entire weekend, I was able to get maybe 600 or so stitches put into it. The next piece that I did put some work into, not necessarily during the weekend, but since we've last caught up, is Black and White Rolled Up Daisy. And this piece is one of my focus pieces for this year. And I'm just finding the cover page for it. Also noting that the physical PDF, physical chart cover page is up the back here. For a close-up though, this is what it will roughly look like when it's done, and it is based on a photo that I took a few years ago from one of the gardens that I get to see on a semi-regular basis. Now, this is where I'm at so far. I'm stitching this on 18 count black Ada, and I did start off doing full cross for the background, and I've slowly transitioned into doing tent stitch. But the aim of the flower is that it will be stitched full cross. Now, with this particular piece, why it's going to be my focus is that I'm wanting to get it finished, or as much of it as I practically can get finished during this year. And maybe I might be able to enter it into the Canberra Royal Show this time next year, hopefully. The aim, though, is to, if I do want to enter this into the Canberra Royal Show for next year, is that I need to get this finished by, in theory, the end of this calendar year, if not very early next year. So we'll wait and see. It's pretty cool, though. The next piece that I did put at least some work into is called Pelicans by Country Threads. So this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. I've been focusing a little bit on the pelican's beak, and I've also been doing a bit more work down around here as well, where we see a part of the boat. And this is where I am at so far. I am stitching this on 14 count Ada, and there will be a bit of fabric left over, but that's okay. The great thing with any of the offcuts that come from this particular piece, I know I'm going to be able to use it for other small pieces of stitching, and that will be pretty cool. This, I do hope, with pelicans and also with the boats that we see as top, it's the fishing trawlers. This is me starting another quilt, in the sense that I had made a few years ago now, quite a few years ago now, I had made a quilt out of many of the Australian themed cross-stitch pieces that I'd stitched up over the years. Each piece, I think, took an average of 3 months, and I think the Palomino, it took me about 4 months because it was just a little bit bigger. Also noting that when I was stitching up that quilt, I was working on other pieces as well and working full-time, and at some stage I was also studying part-time, and there was a lot going on in life, but I got it happening. Anyway, the next piece that I have put a little bit of work into is called Midnight Glow, and this is roughly what it will look like when it's done. It's available from Kustom Krafts. The artwork is by Lucy Billaudieu / McGaw Graphics, and it's designed by Diane Allaire. Now this particular piece I've been working on off and on for many, many years. I'm stitching this on 14 count Ada. I am stitching it very close to the edges, as we can see, and also at the point where with the bottom I'm actually going to be not stitching all. I'm cutting off several hundred stitches from the bottom because I've just run out of fabric. Also noting that I will be needing to attach fabric at the top and bottom to help with the framing as well. The next piece that I have to share with you, I am stitching for a friend who is a new friend. I've only recently met this friend within the last couple of years of actually being here at Wollongong, and just getting things rotated just a little bit. Okay, so this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. It is called Grinch Sand Claus, and it's designed by TomStitch. I purchased this from an Etsy store called TomStitch or TomStitches, something very similar to that wording. And I'm stitching this on 25 count even weave. I started this initially, I think it was either late November, early December, I think roughly that time, and I've just started picking this up again as of yesterday, and this is where I'm at. So yesterday I put 611 stitches into this piece, and I think I'm happy with how this is turning out. I am stitching this 1/1 using all of the cord fall threads. This is going to be really cool when it's done. I'm looking forward to it. This will be one of my other focus pieces for this year until it's done. My aim is to get this done within 6 months, because I had quoted it to saying that I'll get it done in that period of time. So it'll be good. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you is a new start, because my aim is to start a new piece on every new moon that we have this year. So the new start is called Patient Stitches, and it is designed by Tempting Tangles Designs, Deborah A. Dick. I had purchased this chart from JK Stitching Retreat last year, and I was able to pick up some of the threads that I wanted to use on this as well, noting that, especially with the variegated thread, it is different, but that's beside the point. I chose some colors that I thought would be very cool and similar to what we saw on the cover page. Now, this is what I've started with the piece. The variegated thread that we see here is called, it's called Luna Park, and it's by Dinky Dyes. So that's some of the detail on the back. And this is the variegated thread. And whenever I do start stitching on things using silks, I am instantly reminded of why I love stitching with silk and just how beautiful they feel. Now, for the yellow and blue, I'm using again, some more Dinky Dye. This one is True Blue. And then I'm using Weeks Dye Works Squash for the yellow. And the actual fabric I'm stitching on is 18 count Ada that's been hand dyed by Paddock Lane Designs, and this was gifted to me by Peggy, who is also a floss tuber. Her channel is Peggy Still Stitching or Still Stitches, and I think, yeah, this is the way it should be sitting. Peggy fell out of love with this fabric, and she was on my table at the JK Stitching Retreat and had said to people on the table, look, does anyone stitch on 18 count fabric? Does anyone want it? And so I put my hand up and said, yeah, I'm happy to take it on. And this is where I thought that this would be a really nice complementary piece for Patient Stitcher, based on the cover page that we see here. So I don't have this piece scheduled of any particular timing for when I'll work on it. I think it'll be a case of I work on it when I feel like it, and we'll wait and see. Everything will be all good. Now, that is pretty much it for the actual stitching that I've done so far. And in the lead up to the stitching retreat for the Great Aussie Shindig, I did also purchase 2 pieces of fabric as well from Paddock Lane Designs. Both are roughly 32 count fabric. I think this one might be, and I'm going to need to get my measuring tool out as well to refresh my memory on the exact counts for these 2 pieces, so that way I'll be able to know what pieces I could potentially stitch on this. And I purchased these 2 because I love the color purple, and I had also purchased these initially thinking of my plans with the Great Aussie Shindig and the hour of power that I had during the session. I'm phrasing it hour of power just as a way, word association memory, where I had a dedicated hour where I got to share with everyone during the Great Aussie Shindig all of the different things that hot cross stitching does, my involvement with hot cross stitching and all the jazz that goes with it. And like we see up on the wall behind me, some of the cover pages for, pardon me, for some of the charts that are available for purchase. And I also got to talk about some of the physical charts that are available for purchase at the Hot Cross Stitching website. And actually, with Stitching Enabler that we see just behind me here, that was one of my very early designs for hot cross stitching, and it is one of those really nice, easy stitches that took me maybe a week the most to stitch up. It's stitched on 28 count linen and it's using DMC threads. The aim of that particular piece, similar to some of the others as well, like I count my lucky stars every day. So you can sort of see it in the background where it's got this beautiful border around it. For those types of designs, our aim is to enable you as a stitcher to use whatever fabric you want, and to use whatever threads that you have in your stash. So if you've, for example, got some really beautiful Paddock Lane design fabric in your stash, but you haven't quite figured out what you want to stitch on it, and you might also have some complementary threads that you've got in your stash that you've had for ages, or you've been eyeing off some beautiful threads as well, that this may be a fantastic excuse to actually go out and purchase those threads or start stitching on the fabric that you've been hanging on to for a long time. So it was pretty cool. I do have some future plans for the hot cross stitching website, where I know that for the last few months I've been sort of up and down a bit in terms of the direction that I was going with for hot cross stitching. I think a lot of that was more my own headspace and feeling a bit down and out, a bit disgruntled or disheartened rather, that as a solo entrepreneur, that I'm seeing other people who are finally gaining success, but also forgetting that they are putting a lot of hard yards, like myself, in behind the scenes. And so this Great Aussie Shindig has renewed the fire in my belly, so to speak, to start doing more, whether it be through the designs or other things. So I'm hoping that you can keep watching this space and you'll hear more as I'm able to reveal more for hot cross stitching and the new endeavors that it will hopefully take. That said, I think that's about it for everything that has happened in the last couple of weeks. I am being a little bit disjointed with my speaking right now because I'm thinking of what if there's been anything else that I need to think of and share with you. And I think that's about it. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic fortnight. I hope you're able to get a lot of stitching done, and I'm looking forward to the next fortnight where I hopefully will have many more stitching done that I can share with you, many more updates of what's going on in the stitching side of things. And until next time, I'll catch you all later.